Hey, I'm back with another wrestling DVD review. This time it's not a TNA DVD review, it's not a Ring of Honor DVD review. It is a WWE DVD review, and it is the Great American Bash DVD that came out a couple weeks ago. So it's the United We Slam, the best of the Great American Bash. If you're a WCW fan, I highly recommend this. A little bit of history of the Great American Bash back in the day. In the NWA mid-80s. It was pretty much a tour they would do during the summer. It was, for the NWA, they would tour around, I guess, their territory. And basically the first couple of Great American Bashes had the War Games match with the Horsemen against Dusty Rhodes Group and the Road Warriors. So that was, the War Games really started with the Great American Bash. And then it started, then they had pay-per-views and so on. So what you get is a 3-disc set. As you can see, the cover has Sting on it, Ric Flair, and Dusty Rhodes. Very classic WCW, NWA, cover. I really like, the back cover. You have Sting on the cover with the American flag. It's a 3-disc set. So here we go. I mean, I have the regular DVD. I mean, you could get this in Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure the Blu-ray has more matches. So let me tell you the matches that you have on here. So you got disc 1, you have Ric Flair versus Nikita Koloff, and this is way back from 1985. And you have the option of a commentary provided by Dusty Rhodes and Larry Zbyszko. I haven't seen that yet, but I guess they have some insight on the match. That's pretty cool. Even Larry Zbyszko, and listen to his views, that'll be pretty cool. And then you have the Rock and Roll Express against Arn and Oil Anderson. I mean, they had a great feud in the 80s. Great tag team matches. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing that match. You have Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. That's a classic and from NWA days in the 80s. I think they must have fought a dozen times. This is one of their matches. And it's in a steel cage match, which is pretty cool. And you get commentating from Dusty Rhodes, so he's going to be commentating on the match. We have War Games match. They only include one War Games match on here, and that's the Road Warriors, Dusty Rhodes, Nikita Koloff, and Paul Ellering versus Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and Lex Luger, and J.J. Dillon. So if you really are a fan of War Games, I would suggest buying the War Games DVD that WWE came out with a couple months ago, and you'll have all the War Game matches that took place, especially the ones on the Great American Bash. This one, you only get one War Games match. Then you have Sting and Lex Luger versus the Road Warriors. Really looking forward to that match. I mean, that should be a good one. Yeah, that was back in 1988. Disc 2, you have Sting versus the Great Muta. So you get to see early Sting, right before he became a big star. Ric Flair versus Terry Funk. Ric Flair versus Sting from the Great American Bash in 1990. And if you ever heard interviews with Sting, he always says that this match was one of his favorites. That's pretty much the passing of the torch to Sting. He wins his first heavyweight title. So that's pretty cool to have on there. Then you have some decent tag team matches. You have the Steiner Brothers versus the Fabulous Freebirds. Dustin Rhodes and Barry Windham versus Stunning Steve Austin and Rick Rude. And then you have Sting versus Vader from 92 when Vader beat him for the title. 92 was the last bash for a while. I guess WCW decided to go in a different way, so it was like they came back with the bash in 95. And you have the Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ric Flair. And then we have I guess it's the WCW response to the Outsiders Challenge. So I guess this is the one when Kevin Nash and Scott Hall are on the Great American Bash. I think Kevin Nash power bombs Eric Bischoff into the table. We have Diamond Dallas Page versus Macho Man Randy Savage. Back in the day, back in the 97, I think, DDP and Macho Man Randy Savage had a big feud. It was pretty cool. And then we have some luchador matches or cruiserweight. Ultimo Dragon versus Psychosis, Chavo Guerrero versus Eddie Guerrero, and Dean Malenko versus Chris Jericho. Then we have Roddy Piper and the Macho Man Randy Savage versus Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan, and what a main event that is. I mean, that was top stars. Then we have towards the end, I guess this is the 2000, WCW is about to close down, so you had Diamond Dallas Page versus Mike Awesome, and Jeff Jarrett versus Kevin Nash. So it's a pretty, I mean, it's a loaded card. I mean, you'll definitely get entertained from this DVD. I mean, I watched the disc too because I wanted to see Sting versus the Great Muta and some of the matches. And Ric Flair versus Sting was, you know, a classic match. I mean, you could say, like, if you have the network, you know, you're like, why would you want to buy, like, a DVD? Because you just go on the network and you can get all the pay-per-views. The only problem with the network is, you know, you have to load it and you can't fast, really, I don't know, for me, I mean, you can't fast forward and just pick and choose the matches, really. So this is nice to have because you want, you know, on an evening, you just want to see some old school wrestling, pop this in. So it's definitely worth, especially if you're a WCW fan. I really like how WWE is dealing with, like, some of the DVDs that they come out. I mean, they came out with one for the Clash of the Champions, Starrcade. So I hope they continue doing this with WCW events. For example, you know, Halloween Havoc. That was one of my favorite pay-per-views back in the day. They came out with War Games. So, I mean, it's definitely, you know, hopefully, you know, WCW will never die as long as WWE keeps producing these great DVDs. So definitely check it out. Thank you.